still something to celebrate.
Seaver, nicknamed the franchise by New York writers, begins in overpowering fashion.
When you're the franchise, I mean, come on. That says a lot about who you are. And that says a lot about who Tom Seaver was.
311 wins, 3 Cy Youngs, 3,600 strikeouts. The truth is, numbers only begin to explain the legacy of George Thomas Seaver. It's better to start in 1967, when he arrived on the mound for the lowly New York Mets.
College kid from California. He went to USC, and he was so polished for a young pitcher when he came into the big leagues.
I remember the first time I faced him. Here it is, hit it. That's what I got. It's probably better than what you got, and here it is, hit it. You're the Mets, were the buffoons of baseball. He gave them the respect. All of a sudden, the credibility was there. Now they became winners.
We are a ball club to be contended with, and I think that those who have not believed in us before, I think have every right to believe in us now.
That whole season in 1969, it looked like the Cubs were going to run away with that division, and the Mets, it was one of those magical clubs.
We never put our heads between our legs, and we always fought, and it's the greatest feeling in the world.
Seaver had the physical tools and he had the stuff, but he was also one of the most cerebral pitchers ever.
The All-Star game in '70, he started the game, and I, called fastball, and then I called curveball, and he called time and called me out. And first batter. No, we're not throwing curveballs today. You see those shadows out there? They can't see this. Just put down the one. And it was just, golly, I mean, he was Tom Seaver. And he had to live with that name, Tom Terrific. He had to perform in New York, which was in the middle of all of it.
Here was Tom, Hall of Fame great. You could see it already. Young, handsome, beautiful wife, Nancy. They were a golden couple.
How many home runs did you ever hit? In my lifetime, have I hit? How many home runs have you hit? I hit 10 when I was a little bigger.
People had a chance to fall in love with somebody and have that one idol that they say, hey, look what I've got. And Tom Seaver, he was Mr. Met, really.
Seaver spent a decade in New York as the franchise. But then in 1977, things turned sour between the club and its superstar.
I became manager of the Mets in 1977 on May 31st. So here I am, my first day at the office, and 2 weeks later, we're going to trade Tom Seaver. And it was sad.
As far as the fans go, I mean, I've given them a great number of thrills, and they've been equally returned. And the ovation I got the other night.
Seaver would be dealt to Cincinnati, where he'd throw his only career no-hitter.
He goes to the bag, and Seaver's got it!
And get his 3,000th career strikeout.
Take the bow, Tom.
He'd also forge a lifelong friendship with his new catcher.
Tom was a man's man, I'm telling you. Just so witty, and we laughed, and we laughed, and we just found humor in so many things. The first game he pitched was in Montreal. I said, all right, Tom Terrific's here. We called him Nancy because of his wife. We were, Nancy. Well, it's the 5th inning, and there's nobody on, and there's 2 outs, and I called timeout, and I walked out to the mound. And he's like looking at me like, what are you doing? So I get out there and I said, should I throw the ball back to you hard or softly? And turned around immediately and started walking back to the plate. God, he was, don't you ever come out here and talk to me again. But he was the first to laugh.
He always had a boyish enthusiasm, and his love for the game and for his part in it always came through.
Seaver has won 300. A 40-year-old Tom Terrific, Tom Seaver.
Following his 20-year career, Seaver became a first-ballot Hall of Famer in 1992, receiving a then-record 98.8% of the vote.
For me, it's the last beautiful flower in the perfect bouquet. because the 20 years that I had as a professional athlete all came together for me.
A few years ago, some of us began to notice that Tom wasn't quite what he always had been.
7 years ago, maybe he came to the Cooperstown. You could see his eyes, almost the hollowness, that he wasn't all there with us.
Saturday event, after the presentations on stage, I said, Tom, where do you want to go? And he says, well, I'm back to the hotel. Nancy's back at the hotel. I said, okay, let's go. So I walked him to the shuttles. I left him there, and then I went over to where we were going to board the trucks for the parade, and Nancy was there. And I explained to her what Tom had said, and we both made a beeline over to where the shuttles were, and we caught Tom before he got on the bus.
The New York Mets and the entire baseball world mourning the loss of former Met great number 41, Tom Terrific, the franchise, Tom Seaver, who passed away at the age of 75.
He really took pleasure in the wine business. George Thomas Seaver, his wine was GTS.
So many times he'd be walking around the vines, and I called him and I said, how much is the wine this year? Because it started out about 75, then went to 95, and I said, how much is it this year, 95? And he said, oh, no. It's 105 for Nancy's Fancy and 115 for, GTS. And I said, well, I want to buy a case, so how much is it for me? Is there how much discount? No. I said, what if I buy 2 cases? No. I said, come on, man. If I don't put down the signs for you, you're nothing. Nobody would have ever heard of you. No. It was just so wonderful to know a guy like that. It was a blessing to have him.
Didn't start the chicken wars. They just ended them with Wendy's new classic chicken sandwich. Nothing beats this classic. Grab it now in Wendy's 2 for $5.
Cats will do anything for the irresistible taste of Temptations treats.
What are you doing?
Go ahead, check this out. Temptations. All it takes is a shake.
When nacho fries go off the menu, he can't escape the craving.
You don't consume me! I consume
you! It's Velveeta versus the other guys. Clearly, nothing melts like Velveeta.
Looks like Pamela's back.
I was hoping she'd come back. Let her in. We'll still insure her car. Not all breakups last forever.
Looks like Steve came back too. And Keisha?
I'll fix some snacks.
Greg, Luis, Chris?
Oh, I better get cooking. At the General, we welcome you back, even after a lapse in coverage.
We're gonna need a bigger house.
For a great low rate you can get online, go to the General and save some time.
Relax this off-season and watch High Heat with Christopher Russo, only on MLB Network.
You want that home run feeling? Then step in the box and let it rip. Get ready for the Major League Baseball Junior Home Run Derby, powered by at MLB Develops. Compete locally and swing your way to the finals at the 2021 MLB All-Star Week in Atlanta. Get your community involved by hosting a local derby. Sign up for free at jrhrd.com.
Who are the top 10 relief pitchers right now?
And he sits him down.
10 great reasons to watch. 10 great reasons to debate. The top 10 relief pitchers right now. January 11th at 7 Eastern on MLB Network.
The Hall of Fame has been described by many as a museum for greatness. It's also been described as a place where those players who stepped into the pressure of the moment and emerged as heroes. And now, I feel proud to take my seat among the greatest players ever to play Major League Baseball. Thank you.
I think the great ones, the one thing that comes to mind for me, you wanted to get up there and perform in the situations, and it wasn't always easy to do that. You put pressure on yourself. Lou Brock was in that category of not being afraid to fail.
I don't think he has any fear. I think he just decides to go. He knows he can outrun most baseballs. All of a sudden, he sees what he wants, and he takes off.
It was one of the greatest challenges of my whole career was the competition I had with Lou Brock. I mean, I threw out wills, I threw out blopes. Those were unbelievable. But it was Lou Brock. Lou Brock was it, man. Yeah, you got a star on your chest when you got Lou Brock.
Lou Brock died in St. Louis on September 6th of this year. He was one of the greatest base stealers in baseball history and a Cardinals icon. Though Brock would become synonymous with the Cardinals, his career began in Chicago, and he spent parts of 4 seasons with the Cubs before the team made what's still known as one of the most lopsided trades in baseball history.
For people of a certain age, Ernie Broglio for Lou Brock is shorthand for either the best deal you could make or the worst deal you could make.
If that trade were made today, and there would have been other compensation made, particularly after everybody saw what Lou could do that the Cubs had told him that he couldn't do for so many years. They said, don't let him run, don't let him run, don't let him run. When he got to the Cardinals said, run anytime you want to.
There goes Brock again.
Brock arrived in St. Louis in June of 1964 and stole 33 bases over the remainder of the season. He was just getting started. Over 16 seasons with the Cardinals, Brock would lead the National League in stolen bases 8 times, including an unforgettable 1974 season when Brock seemed faster than ever at the age of 35.
He is going! The pitch is a strike! The throw, he is there! He did it! 105 for Lou Brock!
Brock's 118 stolen bases that year shattered Maury Will's previous record of 104. 3 years later, Brock would take down the most hallowed base running mark of all.
He's going! The pitch is high! The throw is safe! He stole it! The throw got by the shortstop, and Brock has done it! And this is it, folks. Brock has now stolen 893.
Brock's ability to steal a base was his signature, but there was much more to his game than just his speed.
In St. Louis, Lou was the base burglar, the stolen base king, but he had more than 3,000 base hits, and he had surprising power for a leadoff man of his era.
His power was phenomenal. He hit a ball in 1968 World Series to right center field off Denny McLain.
The drive hit deep into right center field. This ball's hit a mile out there, and it is gone into the bleachers in deep right center field.
I mean, all the Tiger players would look an incredulous look, like how can a guy that small hit a ball that far?
Because of his speed, everybody thinks these little guys who could run, but Lou was dangerous.
I couldn't wait for the Cardinals to get to town. I wanted a chance. I wanted to throw out Lou Brock, man. And I'm thinking as he comes to the plate, I wonder if he's heard of me. And he comes up and said, hey, kid, how you doing? I said, oh, maybe he has heard of me. I'm actually wanting him to get a single or a walk. He hits a double, and he's leading off second base, but he's got a lean going. So he's sort of leaning towards third. And I said, maybe he hadn't heard about me. He does that lean again, I'll pick him right off second base. So I give a sign out to Tommy Helm. Well, pitch comes, fastball outside, Lou goes out and leans. And I come up and I threw a rocket to second base, and he went right to third. Just walked over to third and just stood there and looked at me on third. And for good reason, you dumb rookie. I own you. I made you do exactly what I wanted you to. And that's the way he was.
No, I didn't start out the game looking for a number, looking for a record. In fact, the only thing I wanted to do when I first got into baseball to play one ball game. In fact, I just wanted to put on a uniform for the first time.
It was the joy, I think, with which Lou played the game. It was his animation on the field that set him apart.
Over 19 big league seasons, there were more than 3,000 hits, the 938 stolen bases, and a near 400 batting average with 14 stolen bases in 21 career World Series games. Lou Brock was at his best when the games meant the most, and that will always be remembered in the city where he became a legend.
That's the way it is in St. Louis. The Cardinal Hall of Famers come back with their red jackets on. There's a connection through the generations. The team has a rich history, and Lou Brock was part of that.
To paraphrase one of my favorite songs, just wish me luck at the same as I do you, and let us hope that our true love and admiration for each other will continue to grow. Thanks again, St. Louis.
He loved it there and, made his home there. And, he was a fan favorite, there was no question.
Beautiful catch. Trent Grisham crushed this baseball.
Donovan Solano sends everybody home.
MLB Network Countdown. The year's top breakout players. Sunday at 6 Eastern on MLB Network.
This ain't just stuffed crust. This is Papa John's crust. Stuffed. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Hi, folks. Joe Namath here, and if you're on Medicare, this is important. You're now entitled to eliminate copays and get dental care, dentures, eyeglasses, prescription coverage, in-home aids, unlimited transportation, and home-delivered meals, all at no additional cost. Plus, your zip code may have coverage with the Give Back benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every month.
I called to get dental, transportation, meals, and the Give Back benefit.
With this virus situation, I called to get everything I'm entitled to. I couldn't believe I was missing out on so many benefits.
With the uncertainty of the virus, you need to get everything you're entitled to. Millions of people have trusted the Medicare Coverage Helpline. You can too. Call now. It's free.
Call 1-800-761-7032. That's 1-800-761-7032 now.
Broken windshield, take one. Hey guys, my windshield just got broken. I feel like I need to blow off some steam. Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Mr. Blanks, there's no need to be stressed. Geico makes it easy to file a claim online, on the app, or over the phone.
Yeah, but what if I never hear back? That's gonna make me want to go, check.
Nope, your Geico claims team is always there for you.
That makes me want to celebrate with some fireworks. 5, 6, 7, go. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah!
Geico. Great service without all the drama.
Jeep is more than a legendary SUV brand. It's a community. We share a love of adventure. We share a spirit. And now we're sharing our employee price with you. Treating you like one of our own. Because that's exactly what you are. Employee pricing at the Jeep Big Finish event.
With employee pricing for all, get an average $4,644 below MSRP, plus $1,000 bonus cash on the 2021 Grand Cherokee Limited.
You came to slay this Peloton. Get a little savage with it. Thrusters till the beat drops. Come on, Peloton. Push through.
They can't stop you. They can't break you.
I know it hurts. You're almost there. Say it with me. I crushed that.
Now starting at $49 a month. All access membership separate.
Al was the most gentlest of people, classiest of guys. We bonded right away. I mean, there was just something, and it was the calmness in his voice, the smile when we would talk, and the laughter we would have, and the number of times we told each other we loved him. I called him every Christmas. I called him every birthday. And, I'd called Al and I don't get him. And I don't get him again a week later. And then 3 days after that, he called me and said, "John, I'm sorry. I was in the hospital and it wasn't great. But I really do appreciate you and calling and caring about me. And he just wanted to tell you I love you. And I said, love you too, Al. And then 3 days later, I guess he was gone. So I was a lucky man to know Al.
You didn't have to be a baseball fan to be saddened by the news that Hall of Famer and Detroit Tigers legend Al Kaline has passed away.
I just froze. I just came to tears, went to myself, got on my knees. And I said, and I thank the good Lord for the many years we'd been together. And I thought about the time in spring training this year that I saw him out in the hallway looking at some pictures on the wall, World Series picture, and I just walked up to him and said, great memories.
When the man they called Mr. Tiger passed away on April 6th of 2020, he'd spent a remarkable 67 years with the Tigers organization as a player, broadcaster, and executive. But Al Kaline's legacy resonated all across the game.
You can go to any team. And that's what I miss now. I can call Tony Oliva, I call other guys. First thing you say, how's Al doing? That shows you how important that man was and the relationship he had throughout the league with other players and other teams.
You love Al Kaline. It's easy. I mean, it's simple. He has a lot of class. He was a great player, but he always had time for you.
I played against him 7 games in my career, the World Series in 1968. You form these opinions about guys, and true to life, when I went to the Hall of Fame and I started meeting Al, he was exactly how I knew he was to be, exactly, which was the perfect gentleman.
Kaline came to the Tigers in 1953 as an 18-year-old kid from Baltimore, Maryland, joining the team without spending a day in the minor leagues.
Well, it was scary, to be honest with you, no question about that. You know, you graduate from high school and all of a sudden you're going out into a major league field with thousands and thousands of people in the stands.
2 years later, at age 20, Kaline became the youngest batting champion ever, a distinction that still holds today.
Pure hitting, pure. It's something that you don't teach.
Al Kaline retaliates for Detroit in the 4th inning. His long drive clears the barrier in left center.
I remember one time he had a hitting streak going on. I said, I'm gonna get in Al Kaline foot streak. I'm back in the hotel room in the mirror, trying to get in his tracks, because I want to become part of that, what he can do.
Bases are loaded again as Kaline gets his 2nd single of the inning, and 2 more runs come home.
I knew that hitting the ball and being a good hitter was very difficult, and you couldn't do it day in and day out. But there's no reason in the world why you can't be a good defensive player day in and day out. So I took great pride. I was much better defensive player than I was offensive player, much better.
Kaline helps preserve that margin in the last half of the 6th when he makes a leaping catch near the right field wall.
I never seen Al Kaline make a bad throw. I used to say, well, how do he go up in right field and the ball come to him and he keep the guy from advancing to second? I go in the left field and the ball beating me up.
He was asked about making a play on a runner going to home plate, and he says, that ball was hit.
Lifts a high fly to Kaline in right field.
It was like slow motion, and that struck me.
Watch this perfect strike to the plate.
To me, the great ones always experience that more than, the other guys.
Brock wisely holds up in respect for one of baseball's best arms.
Kaline was a 16-year veteran in 1968 when the Tigers finally reached the World Series. He hit .379 with 8 runs batted in.
Al Kaline, playing in his first World Series. He's the man on the spot. And Kaline loops a hit into right center. In comes Lolich and McAuliffe with a 9 and lead run. Kaline is having a great series.
You see how Kaline went on, had a great World Series, our leader. I think it was very important because he played all them many years, had a good career, and never been in the World Series.
The
Tigers are the new world champions.
Just to be able to do something to help the ball club win, well, it's a big thrill, and we've been waiting a long time. Everybody in Detroit, I have, and it's a tremendous feeling.
6 years later, he was 39 in 1974 when he reached one of the game's seminal. Mr. Tiger retired after that 74 season, and 5 years later, he was welcomed into Cooperstown as a first-ballot Hall of Famer.
He epitomized what a Hall of Famer is. He was respected and loved by everybody, and I never played against him. I saw him in the All-Star games, but he was the most perfect gentleman.
Little did I know that when I had to choose a ball club to play with, I can never tell you how much that I thank God that I chose Detroit.
Al Kaline will always be the father of our team. He's my hero. I don't have the words to speak how much I care and love this man.
My father is a baseball scout.
Gus couldn't even turn on a typewriter, let alone a computer. A computer that can't tell if a kid's got instincts or not.
Clint Eastwood, Amy Adams, and Justin Timberlake. Trouble with the Curve. Tonight at 6 Eastern on MLB Network's Bleacher Features.
Everyone makes mistakes. But what if life was as forgiving as the General?
We'll take him.
You're in! At the General, we'll cover you, even with a less than perfect driving record.
Smell that? Smells like a championship.
For a great low rate you can get online, go to the General and save some time!
When nacho fries go off the menu, he can't escape the craving.
You don't consume me! I consume you!
Introducing Voltaren Arthritis Pain Gel, the first full prescription strength non-steroidal anti-inflammatory gel available over the counter. Voltaren is powerful arthritis pain relief in a gel. Voltaren, the joy of movement.
What makes the new DQ $6 meal deal for real? How about the Applewood smoked bacon, plus a Coca-Cola, fries, and a sundae? All full-sized, all for just $6. Making BFFs bacon friends forever. DQ, happy tastes good.
Smooth driving pays off. With Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you save. You've never been in better hands. Allstate. Click or call for a quote today.
Spend your precious hours doing what will bring out the brilliant, passionate you.
On Coursera, you can learn without limits. Explore top quality online courses, professional certificates and degree programs from world-class universities and companies, and put the passionate you on the path to new opportunities.
Contribute something meaningful to this world.
Join Coursera for free to learn without limits and live with passion. Woohoo! Disney and Pixar Soul, streaming December 25th only on Disney+.
Wendy's didn't start the chicken wars. They just ended them with Wendy's new classic chicken sandwich. Nothing beats this classic. Grab it now in Wendy's 2 for $5.
When Tom Seaver and Lou Brock died within a week of each other at the end of the summer, 5 months after the loss of Al Kaline, baseball was a game in mourning, in the midst of the national tragedy of the pandemic. And then came the start of October, where 3 more baseball legends would pass in the span of just 9 days.
A
Gibson has passed away tonight. Hall of Fame pitcher Bob Gibson has passed away. He was 84 years old, arguably the most dominant pitcher in the history of the sport. Tough day for not only the St. Louis Cardinals organization, but the world of baseball. Bob Gibson gone at the age of 84.
In 1984, there was a fantasy baseball game at the old Busch Stadium, and the organizers of the fantasy game said, why don't you play as a ringer for these campers? So I come up 6th in the game, and the first 5 guys had all struck out against Gibson. And somehow, after 2 swings and misses, I line one into left center field, and it goes all the way to the wall, and I wind up on 3rd with a triple. And Gibson is glaring at me as if it's the 7th game of the World Series. Fast forward several months, there's an off-season banquet. I'm the MC. I see Bob beforehand. I walk across the room. I say, hey, Bob, how you doing? He goes, you little SOB. If you had come up again, I was going to knock you on your ass. And he was only half kidding.
Bob Gibson wasn't just one of the most dominant pitchers the game of baseball has ever seen. He was one of the fiercest. If his sheer competitiveness drove his excellence, his mean streak was just as much part of the edge he took to the mound.
As a young man that worked with the Tigers, going to St. Pete meeting him, wanted to get an autograph. He scared the devil out of me, told me to get the hell out of his face.
First time I met Bob Gibson, it was a 1965 All-Star game. I am catching for the National League team. Who comes out of the bullpen to pitch the 9th inning? Bob Gibson.
Bob Gibson is trying to nail down the win for the National League.
Tony Oliva's the first hitter, and goes strike 1, strike 2. Now I'm debating, do I just put the sign down and try to signal where I want this pitch to be, or do I go out and talk to him? So I said, I'm going to go out and tell him where I want this pitched.
And Joe Torre giving Gibson that old pep talk, shaking the fist at him.
Well, he gave me a smirk like I wasn't even there.
Joe comes out. Now he's going to tell me how to pitch Tony Oliva. Well, he's in the National League with me. Neither one of us know this guy. And I'm like,
Game's over. As luck would have it, we're the last 2 in the shower. I'm saying, you know, nice pitching, Bob, nice job, you know, blah, 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 blah. He's soaping himself down and just completely ignores the hell out of me. Doesn't acknowledge anything that I'm even there. I said, oh, this is fun.
Gibson's cold shoulder to his all-star teammates was nothing compared to how he treated them when they stepped into the batter's box.
Bob knocked guys down because it was effective. He never threw at guys to hit them, but he knocked them down and he didn't care whether he hit them or not. If he hit them, he hit them.
You know, a lot of people were intimidated by Bob, but the reputation was he would hit you, so I'd been beaten 3 times.
No, ain't no digging in, because you always hear that, you know, word spread.
One of the things that helped me a lot was all of these stories that they would tell each other about me.
And there was always that thought in the back of their minds that it might be inside. He liked to live off the legend because the legend made him tougher to hit.
And in 1968, baseball's year of the pitcher, there was no one in baseball tougher to hit than Gibson, who pitched to a microscopic 1.12 ERA, still the lowest mark in the live ball era.
1.12 is epic. It's one of those numbers that kind of tumbles down the corridors of time for baseball fans.
And then to think, 1.12 ERA, and they changed the mound because of Bob Gibson.
The next year, they lower the mound to try and even the odds. That's akin to widening the lane because Wilt Chamberlain was too dominant. They changed the rules, and Bob Gibson was the primary reason why.
In a fitting coda to his majestic '68 season, Gibson took the mound against the Tigers in Game 1 of that year's World Series and delivered a record-setting performance.
The 1-2 pitch to Cash. Struck him out in a blazing fastball.
When Norm Cash came out, I think in the first, second inning, he came back and said, boy, this will be a quick day.
And he struck out the side, and Gibson has now struck out 5 of the
faced the Detroit Tigers, and they'd never seen a pitcher like that.
A new World Series record.
Al Kaline said he's the best pitcher we've ever faced, to a man. He was the best pitcher that a lot of people had seen.
He got it! Struck him out! A new world record of 17 strikeouts in one game.
He was always so great in the World Series. He won 7 consecutive World Series games. He lost his first against the Yankees in '64 and his last in Game 7 in '68 against the Tigers. In between, 7 victories, all of them complete games.
2 of those complete game wins came in the clinching games of the 1964 and '67 World Series, cementing Gibson's legacy as a Cardinal icon and first ballot Hall of Famer. And in Cooperstown in the years ahead, the old rivals who'd feared him during their playing days discovered Gibson had a softer side too.
After retirement, I got to meet this man and spend some time with him. A good human being, great human being, personality great. He told me then he didn't talk to his teammate because they might get traded.
Bob was a great guy. We talked and laughed and great conversations and respect. So, you know, that scowl was there, but it was always replaced by a smile at the Hall of Fame and a glass of wine.
Bob Gibson, the person, was very different from that intimidating image as a competitor. The latter served him well on the field. The former was who he really was over the course of a long life.
He was fun. Bob made fun out of everything. He was funny. Most people don't think that about Bob Gibson. It's one of the real surprises.
After my career was over and I heard all these horror stories about this ogre that was out there on the mound, and it surprised me. If I had known that, I'd probably been a lot uglier than I was when I was out there. But I was totally surprised that people viewed me that way. You know, I was just out there doing what I know how to do, and that's pretty much as simple as it gets.
Jeep is more than a legendary SUV brand. It's a community. We share a love of adventure. We share a spirit. And now we're sharing our employee price with you. Treating you like one of our own. Because that's exactly what you are. Employee pricing at the Jeep Big Finish event.
With employee pricing for all, get an average $5,056 below MSRP on the 2021 Jeep Gladiator.
It's Velveeta versus the other guys. Clearly, nothing melts like Velveeta.
Our new house is amazing. Great street, huge yard.
There is a bit of an issue with our neighbor's fencing. At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
Which helps us save even more.
Hey, Sarah. Hey, Peter.
Touche.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
Wait up. Papa John's has a new stuffed crust. Oh, we did it. We did it. All our tweets, DMs, and carrier pigeons worked. This ain't just stuffed crust. This is Papa John's crust. Stuffed.
Spend your precious hours doing what will bring out the brilliant, passionate you.
On Coursera, you can learn without limits. Explore top quality online courses, professional certificates, and degree programs from world-class universities and companies, and put the passionate you on the path to new opportunities.
Contribute something meaningful to this world.
Join Coursera for free to learn without limits and live with passion. Woo-hoo! Disney and Pixar Soul, streaming December 25th only on Disney+.
MLB Tonight has the off-season job search covered, bringing you the latest moves, rumors, and shakeups. The off-season buzz is on MLB Tonight, weeknights on MLB Network.
It's time for MLB Pitch, Hit, and Run, presented by MLB Network, the official youth skills competition of Major League Baseball. Get your community involved by hosting a local competition for the chance to compete in the finals during the 2021 MLB All-Star Week in Atlanta. Sign up for free at pitchhitrun.com.
Welcome to Slam Diego! The Marlins are going to the postseason! Tony Bellinger, a robbery of Tatis!
MLB Network Countdown, the year's top moments. Sunday at 7 Eastern, only on MLB Network.
Well, the thing I remember most about Whitey is that, number one, he relied a lot on his catcher. Yogi Berra was his catcher during that time, and Yogi got to the point where he knew what Whitey was going to throw. You didn't see him shake him off. I do remember the time, though, that Mickey Mantle said to Yogi, I could call the game from center field. And they said, all right, well, let's see you do it. And from center field, that particular game, Mantle would give the signals. He'd stand up straight for the fastball, and for the curveball, he'd bend over a little bit, and for the slider, put his hand across his chest, and he called the game, and Whitey pitched his usual shutout, and Yogi was a little down because he found out that anybody could call the game and Whitey would do well.
Ford's pitching again proves invincible.
It would be hard to find an icon and a team in baseball history who seemed more destined to be linked than Edward Whitey Ford and the New York Yankees.
Well, you have to realize I was born in New York City on East 66th Street and moved over to Astoria, Long Island when I was about 6 years old, and was a Yankee fan from the time I was 7 or 8 years old. Played sandlot baseball in Long Island, and all of a sudden a Yankee scout comes up to me and says, we'd like you to play with the Yankee farm team, and I just couldn't believe it.
I think it helped that Whitey was from New York. You didn't get overwhelmed by the fact that you came to the big city and then, have it swallow you up. I think that helped a great deal.
The Yankees rush in to congratulate Ford, who completely dominated the game.
The best part for me watching Whitey is he was like an artist because he could paint the corners.
Whitey, the remarkable thing about your artistry is the fact that you always seem to know what you want to do with that ball out there. I have a good curved ball. I mean, it's always been my best pitch, and I've been able to throw it where I want to.
Ford's mastery of his pitches made the 5'10" lefty the top starter in the Yankees' golden age of the mid-20th century.
Well, you have to remember, from 1949 through 1964, the Yankees won 14 of the 16 American League pennants. So even granting that Whitey Ford pitched for teams that for most of his career were exceptionally good teams, his career winning percentage is .690. That's the highest winning percentage of any Hall of Fame pitcher.
And nowhere was Ford more successful than on the game's biggest stage.
He was at his best in the World Series. I think that you find that a lot of good ball players are that way, and that was true of Whitey.
Whitey Ford, with 10 victories, is the winningest pitcher in World Series history.
The chairman of the board would play on 6 World Series champions with the Yankees from 1950 to 62. His dominance in October, an historic piece of the club's success.
He still holds the record for consecutive scoreless innings in World Series play, breaking a record that was set by Babe Ruth back in the early part of the 20th century.
And that makes 30 straight scoreless innings. Whitey Ford, the little lefty with a big heart, has shattered one of Babe Ruth's most cherished records.
It was a good time to be a star in America. In Hollywood, there was the fabled Rat Pack, known for their talent and their love of a good time. In New York, the Yankees had their own version of the group, led by Ford, Billy Martin, and Mickey Mantle.
Mickey was that Oklahoma kid that came to New York. Whitey Ford was chairman of the board, and when you throw Billy Martin in, that's really a combination of, well, let's have a good time while we're enjoying this run. In fact, I remember, in particular, we would clinch a pennant sometimes with 8 or 10 days still left in the season, and the Yankees would hire detectives. They followed the main guys on the ball club. They wanted to make sure they stayed in good shape so they'd be ready for the World Series when it began. Billy Martin's with Whitey and Mickey, and they'd be the ones that would go out. But they were so smart. They'd get in a cab, and the detectives would get in the cab, and they'd get out the other side of the cab, and the detectives couldn't follow them.
What always struck me as kind of amusing and endearing about Whitey is whenever it was brought up, whether it was Mickey or some other teammates that might have had some late-night fun, he always had this sly smile on his face, like the Cheshire Cat. Not going to tell you. I don't remember. I really can't say. I just can't remember. and then he'd smile.
It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all here today as we honor very simply the greatest pitcher ever to don the pinstripes, Edward Charles Whitey Ford.
Whitey Ford retired from the Yankees in 1967, the winningest pitcher in franchise history and the most dominant postseason pitcher of all time.
He was the best pitcher of certainly my era. His career, it was a masterpiece.
He'd spent his entire Hall of Fame career in pinstripes and would remain a regular presence around the franchise throughout his retirement.
Okay, kid, so looks good.
How you been? Chairman of the board, Edward Charles Whitey Ford.
In the last years of his life, Ford would battle Alzheimer's disease, but the illness couldn't quite take everything away from him.
The one memory that I have was when, Whitey was starting to slip away as far as his memory. We were at the Hall of Fame, and I was asked when we were introduced if I would walk out with Whitey and sort of direct him. And we were sitting there behind the stage, and the Hall of Famers are all over the place. And he taps me on the shoulder, and he says, "Who are all these guys?" Even though he was in that condition, I think when he walked out on that stage, he sort of felt what he used to feel like.
In closing, I want to say that I've been proud to be in this organization since 1947, the only organization I've ever known. I've been a Yankee for 53 years, and I'll be a Yankee forever. Thank you.
Girls can't play ball!
A League of Their Own, starring Tom Hanks, Gina Davis, and Madonna. Tonight at 8 Eastern on MLB Network's Bleacher Features.
Wendy's didn't start the chicken wars. They just ended them with Wendy's new classic chicken sandwich. Nothing beats this classic. Grab it now in Wendy's 2 for $5.
Life doesn't have to be this hard. Just because you lost your car insurance. At The General, we make it easy to get affordable car insurance. Payments are low, and you choose your payment due date. Get your hassle-free online quote and ride with The General.
Coming in hot.
For a great low rate you can get online, go to The General and save some time.
Hi, folks. Joe Namath here, and if you're on Medicare, this is important. You're now entitled to eliminate copays and get dental care, dentures, eyeglasses, prescription coverage, in-home aids, unlimited transportation, and home-delivered meals, all at no additional cost. Plus, your zip code may have coverage with a give-back benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every month.
I called to get dental, transportation, meals, and the give-back benefit.
With this virus situation, I called to get everything I'm entitled to. I couldn't believe I was missing out on so many benefits.
With the uncertainty of the virus, you need to get everything you're entitled to. Millions of people have trusted the Medicare Coverage Helpline. You can too. Call now. It's free.
Call 1-800-761-7032. That's 1-800-761-7032 now.
Introducing Voltaren Arthritis Pain Gel, the first full prescription strength non-steroidal anti-inflammatory gel available over the counter. Voltaren is powerful arthritis pain relief in a gel. Voltaren, the joy of movement.
What makes the new DQ $6 meal deal for real? How about the Applewood smoked bacon, plus a Coca-Cola, fries, and a sundae? All full-sized, all for just $6. Making BFFs bacon friends forever. DQ, happy tastes good.
Whoa, Susan.
Oh, I'm looking for coupon codes.
Well, Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them.
Save me some cheddar.
Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
No guts.
Come on, nobody does that.
No glory.
A Superman effort.
All style.
And they got him.
And substance.
A no-hitter.
The Capital One Premier Plays of the Year. Coming up next on MLB Network.
Follow MLB Network on social media and join the conversation.
When Joe Morgan is gone, and we're all going to regret that day that you do leave the game of baseball, how would you like to be remembered?
Well, two ways, I guess. One is that I got all I could out of the ability that I had, and the other is that I was a winner, because I've been on winning teams, and every place I've gone, we've won. And to be honest with you, it's not coincidence. So I would like to be remembered as a winner.
It was October 11th when the Hall of Fame lost its 6th iconic member in 2020, and its 3rd in just 9 days. When one of the greatest second basemen ever, Joe Morgan, died at age 77. Morgan was a 10-time All-Star, won 5 consecutive Gold Gloves at one point, and was a back-to-back NL MVP. All through a 22-year career that began in Houston in 1963.
Joe Morgan, I remember coming up number 18 when he was playing for the Houston Colt 45s. You knew he was fast, he could run, he could do things very aggressive, and then it was such a perfect fit when he went to Cincinnati.
I tell people he was the greatest player in baseball. You need a base hit, he got a base hit. You need a double, he got a double. If you need a home run, he gets the ball out of the ballpark.
There she goes, deep to right field. Could be out of here. 1-0 Cincinnati.
That little timing mechanism that he had with his arm, he could turn on a ball in a second.
This is a dimension that the supposed little guys aren't supposed to have.
At 5'7" and 160 pounds, Morgan's nickname was Little Joe. But he could go deep from the plate and back down to no one on the base path.
Joe Morgan, to me, was the most intimidating player. The reason was he was such a good base stealer.
There he goes, first pitch. Not in time.
And he made a comment once that really upset me in the paper. And he said, they don't have anybody over there who could throw me out.
And he steals second with ease.
That made me mad, but he was right. He used that intimidation effectively for a long period of time. Matter of fact, I think it helped all those players in the Big Red Machine.
You could say Morgan was the engine of the Big Red Machine in Cincinnati in the 70s. A club loaded with future Hall of Famers and record-breaking legends.
I was fortunate enough to play with some of the greatest players who's ever played this game. The Pete Roses, the Johnny Benches, the Tony Perez's. That gives you a leg up because you're playing in a winning environment.
The thing that we talked about forever was the play he made in the World Series against Oakland A's when there was a pop-up behind first in foul territory, and he went over and called Perez off. And he caught the ball, and Joe turned to throw it to home, and he slipped and still got it to me as a bang-bang play.
Morgan the bench, and the game is over.
The only thing Joe cared about in life, it was how strong a throw he made.
3 years after losing that 1972 World Series to the A's, the Reds faced the Boston Red Sox in one of the most unforgettable fall classics ever. In the 9th inning of a tied-up Game 7, the NL MVP stepped to the plate with a chance to give his team the lead.
There was never one moment I didn't feel like I was going to get a base hit.
There's a looper. They drop. It's in for a hit. And the Reds have the lead 4-3.
It turned out I got the hit, and we won the World Championship. That's like the fulfillment of a dream come true.
The next year, the Reds were again champions, and Morgan was again the league MVP.
Joe Morgan, everybody's choice for the National League's most valuable player.
In his second MVP season of 1976, he hits .320, 27 homers, 111 RBIs. He also leads the league in on-base percentage and slugging. To top it off, he leads the league in sacrifice flies. He also grounds into only 2 double plays, and he steals 60 bases.
Too late, he steals it.
he was not just the MVP back-to-back, he was, for that period of time, the best player in baseball.
After the 1979 season, Morgan left Cincinnati as a free agent and played for several other teams before retiring in 1985. He stayed in the game as a broadcaster for more than another quarter century and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1990, with his significance firmly solidified in baseball history.
When you look at Joe, especially at his peak, and what a really productive offensive player he was, plus the 8 Gold Gloves, I think a very strong argument can be made that Joe Morgan is the greatest second baseman in the second half of the 20th century.
To have somebody that was genuine and in the clubhouse, on the plane, Joe was that guy. He was your friend, he was your brother, and he was all the things and as good a ball player as ever lived.
It's always nice to think about Cooperstown in the summer. But it's particularly nice now to think about the next time we'll all be able to gather there, even as the reality sets in that whenever that day comes, 6 familiar faces won't be sitting on the dais.
When they gather again at the Otesaga Hotel or outside Doubleday Field, the absence of those first-rate Hall of Fame players will really be felt. You have to be around it to appreciate what a meaningful fraternity it is.
To lose such a big chunk of, the backbone of Cooperstown, it's going to be a big gap, the next time we're able to gather for the Hall.
There's something about those people that were on the pedestals, and those were the guys that you grew up admiring and respecting, and they were bigger than life. I mean, there'll be excitement, all the joy and excitement that will come with the new inductees, and you'll welcome them. But it's my pedestals have been knocked down.
Even baseball can't keep you eternally young. No matter how invincible, how incredible, how indelible it seems a figure can be on the diamond. But if icons are mortal, their impact in the cities where they played, the imagination of everyone who watched them will nonetheless endure for as long as they play this game.